When did you lose your innocence? It's a question that sounds like it's got some kind of moral judgment in that, losing your innocence. It can refer to lots of different things. Sometimes we think of it with sexual connotations, but no, it's bigger than that. That's not the question. Losing your innocence is when you realise that the world is a cruel and a unkind place, that good things don't always happen to good people. There's all kinds of issues about losing your innocence. And by and large, we want to be a bit more wise. We want to be worldly wise. A state of innocence is associated with childhood, something which leaves us. But there are people, you'll know people who just have a kind of innocence about them. They just go through life and they believe the best about folk, and they love and they give in love, and they've got lots of friends, and they give affection, and there's just a kind of openness and a wonder about them. And it's a great quality to maintain all through adult life if you possibly can. And yet we sometimes demean it as if it's only for children. The other extreme of being innocent is being, perhaps we would say, cynical or worldly wise, just understanding how the world works, playing the game, working the system, just being very canny and cautious and making the best of opportunities when they arise. Just that worldly wisdom is sometimes regarded as both an asset and also a handicap, because it's not always a pleasant quality, but yet a necessary one to get through life. You know, just don't stick your head above the parapet. Don't take on things you can't manage. You know, sometimes it's better just to walk away or to run away. Sometimes wisdom is to do with being cautious, being careful. People around me over years have heard me quote the phrase that Jesus uses in Matthew 10:16. It's a great little phrase, and it's so appropriate in so many circumstances. He said in the Authorized Version, which changes with other translations, but he said in the Authorized Version, "Be wise as serpents and as innocent as a dove." Well, odd choice of a metaphor for a serpent. We might say owls are wise, but foxes are wily. Animals are associated with characteristics. But the metaphor of the day was wise as a serpent. You think of it as being hidden and moving carefully and slowly, and just having that kind of care about everything it does. Anyway, it's quite easy to find people in either camp that you'll know people who have a worldly wisdom about them. They just streetwise, smart, and sometimes they are people that you need on your side when you're in a tight corner. And sometimes you need to have that level of smarts to be able to get through life without getting bruised and hurt. The other side is that innocent bit, just still being open and caring. It's difficult to find both qualities in one person. We tend to trend towards one or the other. And the more power we get, and the more wealth we get, and the more we become full of our own importance, then that kind of wisdom bit takes over. And sometimes that's calculating, cynical, maybe just a wee bit hard-headed. And we think as Christians particularly, we ought not to be like that. But, there used to be the old saying, somebody who's so heavenly minded, they're no earthly use. And that's to be guarded against, because we have a faith in a Christ that talks about forgiveness and love and acceptance. It doesn't mean that we're just used as a doormat, that we just give in to everybody, that we don't understand how the world really works. No, he inclines us to think about also being wise as a serpent, and also maintaining, without losing, that innocence and love, that spontaneity, that joy, that's childlike qualities, but surely we can be children our entire lives, and happy and wise. It's a great quality to come together, to be innocent as a dove, but remain wise as a serpent. Worth listening to. Matthew 10:16.